This is the Washington Times front page for Monday, January 12th, 2026. Thanks for starting your week with us. I'm George Gerbo. The killing of Renee Good by an Immigration and Customs Enforcement officer has morphed from a local tragedy into a national political battle. What began as a chaotic encounter has evolved into a dispute over transparency, jurisdiction, and who controls the narrative of the incident, Seth MacLachlan reports. Minnesota Democratic Senator Tina Smith accused the administration Sunday of trying to hide the facts by excluding state and local officials from the investigation. She said President Trump, Vice President J.D. Vance, and Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem are attempting to cover up what happened here in the Twin Cities. Democrats have also called for Noem's removal, saying she's created a confrontational culture that has led to growing clashes between immigration authorities and the public. The lawmaker said they would like Noem to resign or be fired, but they're willing to consider impeachment if necessary. The extensively videotaped shooting has become the latest flashpoint in the intensifying debate over federal immigration enforcement in cities that oppose the administration's policies. More than 500 protesters are estimated to have been killed in Iran's violent crackdown in recent days, and the Islamic Republic has vowed to strike U.S. bases in the region and targets in Israel if President Trump attempts to intervene with military action. Vaughn Conkane and John Seward report more than 10,000 people have been detained over 2 weeks of protests, according to the U.S.-based human rights activist news agency. Iran's weakened international position may have exacerbated the protests. Iran's economic woes can be blamed in part on international sanctions imposed last year after European powers found Iran had not done enough to find a diplomatic solution to its nuclear program. President Trump told reporters Sunday evening that Iran had reached out to the U.S. and proposed negotiations after his threats over the crackdown. President Trump's self-branded attempt to cut drug prices is set to launch within the next few weeks. Tom Howe reports TrumpRx.gov will enable consumers to purchase medications for migraines, diabetes, and other conditions at discounted prices that the president negotiated with major pharmaceutical companies. The program involves 14 major drug makers. Patients won't buy medicines directly from the government website, but will be directed to the drug makers' direct-to-consumer programs to see how much they could save. Health experts say many insured Americans will continue to follow traditional paths of purchasing their medications instead of paying drug companies directly. And finally, last year was a period of growth for pirates, raising global maritime crime to its highest levels since early 2020. Joseph Hammond reports the U.S. Navy has reported 4-year highs for piracy in the Gulf of Guinea off the West African coast and in the Singapore Strait. It noted 13 incidents of hijackings, kidnappings, and other violent incidents around the Horn of Africa last year. Piracy off the Horn of Africa remains a problem despite the presence of a large European Union-led anti-piracy mission. Find all of today's front page stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page or on the Washington Times app, and find us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us on social media at Wash Times for breaking news, sports, commentary, and more. For the Washington Times, I'm George Gerbo.